You may have been dreaming of how you could start something new or create a sustainable lifestyle, make a different choice in the way that you're living, the way you're showing up in the world, the footprint that you're leaving on planet Earth right now. Our guest today is a very special lady who has a lot of engineering experience along with her husband, and is also has been a consultant and is a sustainable living expert. I'm really excited to bring this lady onto our show today, and not only because of what they're doing in the sustainable living spaces, but also because of the impact they're having and the knowledge that she has around launching through the many years of their business. And so welcome to the show, Aurora Rogers. I'm so excited to have you here all the way from producing Freedom and your lovely outdoor office. Welcome to the For Your Success
Thank
podcast.
you, Katie. I am so honored to be with you today. I'm just excited to share this time with you and with your audience.
So tell us how you, as a corporate consultant, your husband an engineer, how did you guys end up in this whole pioneering sustainable living space to begin with?
Well, Katie, as I was praying and preparing for our time today, one word just keeps coming back, and it's conviction. We left the comforts of the lifestyle that we knew behind. My husband and I grew up in the city, in the suburbs in the city, and we had this conviction that we really needed to prepare for times when all those comforts that we had were not going to be around. And so the desire kept growing, and so what happened was that we were living in the northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area, and my husband got hired to be an expat in Mexico. We were living in northern Mexico for 2 years. And that was a catalyst for us to really prioritize and turn off the noise of the culture that we were so enveloped in. And so we took that time to really think about, we had already been married around 10 years at that time, and we just started becoming even more strategic about and intentional about the life we wanted to create and the legacy we wanted to leave. And so we were in Mexico, and I don't know if you and your audience are familiar with the movie The Matrix, but we have this moment where we were just awakened to the reality that all the other times we had moved was for jobs. Like, we were in Mexico because of a job. We were in Cincinnati because of a job. And like my husband said, what if, this is what changed everything, what if we moved somewhere that we wanted to live instead of where a job was taking us? Like, what if we intentionally moved somewhere? What would that look like? And it was like a whole new world, because you graduate college, you get a degree or two, you graduate college, and it's wherever the job. You're chasing jobs all your life if you stay in the system. So that was a catalyst that brought our conviction into really just sparked life into it. So we started digging deeper, and to make a long story short, we became intentional to save to buy land. And so that being removed from all the noise of what everybody else said life needed to be like, and that moment, that awareness moment, that we could actually intentionally design our life and go for it. So that is how our lives became very interrupted. I mean, we were already interrupted being expats. But, and that really wasn't, it was a kind of crazy time to be in northern Mexico. It was 12 years ago, and some things broke out right after we left. But it was like this moment in time where it didn't really matter how we grew up or the design or the degrees that we had or whatever. It's like, what are we on this earth to do? And that's where the titles dimmed, it just didn't so much matter. And then we went after it, and we took inventory of what we had, of what we wanted. And that's how we ended up, where we are today. Now, we went back. We ended up buying land. We would travel by car 8.5 hours to the area where we wanted to buy our land. And we purchased it, but we moved back to the northern Kentucky area. And what ended up happening was that it was like the land was calling. It was like 18 hours away or something. So we couldn't like drive on the weekend. So my husband ended up quitting his engineering job at an aerospace manufacturer. And we left homes, friends, jobs, career, everything behind to move here. Just like missionaries leave everything behind, we left everything behind. And it even though we were still in the United States, even though it wasn't an international venture of like moving to a third world country, moving to raw land was like a third world country. It was like a simulated apocalypse of sorts. And so that's what happened in December of 2011 for us. We left everything behind, and we knew we had no friends, no family, no job, nothing, waiting over here on the other side, several states away. But we had been introduced to this family. They let us borrow an RV, and that's how our journey started. What I think is that I didn't really consider myself an adventurous person, but I had the disposition to follow the convictions that we had. And it was faith driven. Right. It wasn't fear driven. No, there was no, there was no global crisis happening at that time. But we had this conviction, and we could foresee that there would be times that we would want our family to be more prepared, and we would want to help other people who came to us for help. And so I wanted to say also that when we got here, we moved here, and I'm just telling you, most people move to another country and at least know someone, right? We had nothing, we had nothing but our conviction and the courage to just follow that conviction. And that is what has held us together during that time. So I hope that answers your question. We have a very rich
I think that's fascinating. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners start the same way. Like there's something I see that needs to be different, and I know I can do something about it. And then we start asking those questions like, what if? How could I? Right? And exactly like you did. And not all of us leave our careers behind in one fell swoop and go and do something completely different. But some of us do. And I think in our heads, we're all moving that direction. And, you very much like us on the mission field, like we had to create a business to survive. And here you are now leaving behind a job and moving to this rural area. Like what do we do now? We have to create something to sustain ourselves. And that's how this whole, your conviction and your passion for that pioneering and that, being prepared for different things and living off the land and all of that things. I find it so fascinating. And you were able to turn that passion into a business that now serves other people.
Yeah,
I love it.
That is so true. What I wanted to share with you about that came to me is I get a lot of revelations in the garden. And I was in the garden, I think weeding or something a few months ago, and I was just like, I was just thinking about pioneering, just the spirit of pioneering new things. And because again, I didn't consider myself an adventurous person, but I'm such a pioneer. And I realized that really pioneering, like the prerequisite, like the building block, is a pioneer has the courage to be fearless in a world where we're human, but in this world where most of us want to be affirmed, accepted, fit in, we want all of the support, but in pioneering, you just can't require that to move forward and make a difference. I believe that the courage to be fearless is the thing that separates a person, who is destined to be a pioneer from a person who's destined to be a follower.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And the whether it's pioneering in your business niche or whether it's actually pioneering in a rural area of the country, both are true. I know we pioneered a homeschool curriculum in the Spanish language, which is our second language, and we created something that is still today the only literature-based homeschool curriculum. It's the only curriculum using that method that exists in that language. It was a complete pioneering thing. And that's another side of our business that we don't often talk about on this show, but it's still very much a part of our lives today. And it takes a lot of fearlessness. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of persistence. And we hit a wall. What else can we do? How else could this be done? And continuing to ask those questions and courageously step over the roadblocks to take the next step forward, whatever that looks like.
And to not be afraid to feel things that we've never felt before, to deal with problems we've never dealt with before. And pretty much it's like unraveled patterns that are new to us because, it's as humans, we seek comfort and we want to be comfortable. And it's not about things that are comfortable. It's what we're comfortable with. So if we're comfortable with certain problems, we try to stick to those problems, right?
Yeah. And I love that you took what you learned in the pioneering space, combined with your previous experience in consulting and engineering between you and your husband. And now you've put that information and you've packaged it to be able to help other people learn how to pioneer. Tell us a little bit about your programs that you're offering to folks now and what that looks like.
So I'll tell you, I have a lot of ideas, and maybe of your audience is like that. And I had a lot of different, programs and a lot of different offers, but I had the opportunity to meet with a very famous coach. And he really challenged me that the most successful pioneers start out with one offer, one marketing method, or, one offer, one marketing method, one platform, one main platform they focus on. And I was a little bit crushed because ideation is my top strength. I was like, I have all these ideas. So what I'm about to share with you is basically submitting to wisdom. In submitting to wisdom, we have one offer, one main offer, and it is our mentorship. It's a 90-day intensive mentorship. The reason we do that is because we take about 2 decades of our combined experiences, and we have come up with a unique way to really get people caught up. Like, how do you take 20 years of research and experience and get people to a place where they can make wise choices that are faith-based choices and not fear-based reactive choices. And so our mentorship is called Pioneering Success Blueprint, and it's about helping people who are interested in designing a sustainable lifestyle, very holistic. We have 12 pillars of producing freedom, and we just go through all 12 pillars and help them establish a really firm foundation for their life, for what they want. Is very unique. And the way that our course is unique to others is that it's not a self-paced program. Like, it's, we're growing with you so that, we're growing with the students so that we know what's going on. We know maybe what some hurdles are in getting through all the pillars. And then we aid our students, we help our students to create a blueprint to get started that can save them decades of pain and suffering, tens of thousands of dollars in mistakes and unnecessary, misplanned investments. And so that is the essence of our mentorship. Now, I will tell you, again, when I met with this coach, he said, you can have other offers that lead to that main offer, but it's your main offer. So I had to reel it in because he said, if you could only have one thing, and I'm like, just one? I mean, how can you do that to me, right? But he said, just one. And so I would say, if I could only do one thing for people, it would be mentorship. And here's why. Because sometimes as a teacher, we're trying to impart something we have to someone else. But what I tell our students is, as a mentor, I am not trying to put anything of mine into you. I'm trying to draw what's already inside of you out. And that's the difference,
Right.
In my opinion, between just consuming information and being transformed to be able to actually act and execute and go after that sustainable lifestyle that they truly want.
Sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. Tell us about how you launch that. Like, what does your launch process look like in a 12-month period?
Well, I will tell you that it is, because I told you I tried other things. We launched last year, and this is a very small market. Like it's a pinpoint group of people. So it's not like a huge
Which is a blessing, because then you can know exactly who you're talking to, and they know that you're the one to help them.
Right. So, well, it's getting narrower, I will say, with the polarization in the world. That's one challenge I will just, then share with your audience, that if you're like in a faith-based, if you right now, if you're dealing with like health and nutrition wellness, if you're dealing with faith, it's a tough thing right now, because you really have to either pick a side or stay completely neutral, right? So that's kind of changed the dynamic a little bit of our program. And so last year we launched more open. I did a 5-day, my mentor at the time, I was mirroring her process. So I did a 5-day challenge that was free, that led to a 10-day workshop. And then I did a 4-hour live stream. And it was, like I said, kind of a beta. We didn't have that many students, but it's a very high ticket offer. So to me, it was success. It was really all we could handle for all the trial. It wasn't really like a trial and error, but for testing. So had a small, group. And my goal really was to get my investment back. To be honest, on all, I invested a good chunk, right, to get to that point in mentors and things. So I was like, if I can just get it back in proof of concept. And so that's what I did. This time, what I found about our audience is our target audience doesn't really engage with like 5-day things and all of that. They just have a lot going on. They're entrepreneurs and, investors. And so I decided to this time around, and we do it once a year. So this time around, based on, I mentioned to you, I met with a coach that really just challenged me a ton. So based on that, I decided, I'm going to just do things differently. I have this bonus offer that I haven't delivered yet actually to that group, because it's like a huge bonus. And we're still just learning so much about that. So we did this bonus that's valued at $2,500, okay, a $2,500 bonus. It's getting to learn from us all the strategies, all the mistakes on how to buy the perfect piece of land for their first homestead. First or next. Our target audience would be first. And so I decided that I would do what I want to test this year, okay? So I'm just sharing with you what it looks like for us. We're going to do a webinar, a seminar, it's like a mini workshop prior to do the 5-day challenge we did last year. I want to do it as just a one sitting, I want to condense it to a 90-minute mini workshop to help them create what we called it. I might tweak it, but it was creating a winning game plan for homesteading. And then I am very much considering making it paid. We did it free, and it just didn't really draw people that were just really committed. So I want to do it as a paid mini workshop. And then the offer will be the $2,500. So it'll probably be like $47 or $49 mini workshop. You get to vision is the most important thing. Okay, so you create your vision, your winning game plan. Then the offer at the end of that will be our bonus that we're going to do it anyway. We're going to present this to our students anyway, but it's kind of like you can come in through the back door, you can come in through the bonus, because it's a lot of people are thinking about, like, they don't want to screw up buying the land, right? They don't want to mess up buying the wrong piece of land. And there's like 1,000 different ways you can buy the wrong piece of land. And we found several of those. So, so that's what, it's a completely different thing. I'm just trying it just with a confidence that it makes sense and it helps them. So they're going to have vision, and then they're going to be, now what do I do with this vision? Now, well, where are you going to go do with the vision, right? Like, now you know what kind of homestead you want to have. Now you need to find the land. And, the way that I feel about it is, if you buy the wrong piece of land and you were able to flip it, the closing costs would probably cost you more than the $2,500 and the pain of all of it, And so that's my approach with that. And at the end of that 4 to 6 hour, half-day workshop, where we just really pour into people so that they do not get taken advantage of in their decision of buying their homestead. It's like a big deal. It's like a marriage. It's almost like a covenant relationship, building that, because they may or may not be able to resell it. We're in a market that may be a seller's market, but at the same time, you're at the mercy of who'll buy it, right? And so you want to buy with the consciousness of, this may be my land for a while, and it's either going to cost me in mortgage or in fixing it up or investing in it or reselling it, the closing cost or whatever. And I know that money can be made, but you make your money on the buy, right? So you're going to buy smart. And so at the end of that, then we invite people to upgrade to our mentorship. Something we're doing different this year with the mentorship is, I noticed I wanted to give more support. And we really pour into our students, and to make it very sustainable for us and for them. So I'm targeting couples, like married couples, families. It's for family. I really want to invest in families. So before, we had taken, singles, and I'm not saying I'm opposed to, but I really want to really make it to where we are pouring into families. Couples. And so this year, what I want to do is give them an extra 90 days of support to help them walk the 90 days after all the, because we have like training wheels, right?
Right.
Training wheels on creating the blueprint, but I want to give them training wheels on actually walking it out. And hopefully then within those 90 days, they'll be buying their land, and we can give them support and stuff like that. So
right, that's so smart, because even for the risk reversal on the front end, and the whole, the idea of a guarantee, and all the questions of, will this really work? Can I invest to this? Like, that extra support on the back end is something that we're doing with our own Master Teacher Accelerator program. It's a 90-day program, but then we also give you another 3 months of support on the back end as you're evaluating and sort of debriefing and getting ready to launch this thing again. I think that's a super good move.
And it's kind of like, it's for their pioneering success. We become like the mama and the papa of them, and like and it's like, to just let them go. I want to be able to check in and, have some more opportunities so that they don't feel like we just threw them out, even though that's not how our program is. Just things take time. And
they do. And community is important. Like you said, you're pioneering. It's very easy to feel like you're alone. And that community gives them other people who get it and understand the challenges they're facing. And you can really create a great camaraderie and encouragement there.
Yeah, for sure. And, our target audience feels very isolated during this time in history. Their beliefs separate them. Like, the world is polarized anyway, but our target audience is feeling super alone right now. Super alone, super persecuted. And so I appreciate you saying that, about community, but we don't just want them to have community, like, to know the other students, but actually know, like, they have, like, our personal counsel at their fingertips.
Right.
We even use encrypted apps to speak, so that we have privacy in our technology.
Right. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
our alumni group is in a private encrypted app. It's not in any, we don't do, YouTube is the only social media that we're in. But Katie, I wanted to just be very vulnerable and tell you that, so the transformation, again, that this coach, it is really, I will tell you, the favor of God is so amazing. But this coach reached out to me it was like a coach that I looked up to, and I watched his videos and stuff. He reached out to me and said, anything I can help you with, I want to hear more about what you're doing. And so I had a whole hour of somebody's time that doesn't do one-on-one consulting. And I'm trying to be
That's
really
awesome.
faithful for the gift that God gave me and the wisdom that was shared with me. And just, even though that I'm doing things that people don't recommend, because we really haven't, it's not like we've had this program, around 10 years or 5 years, but I'm very grounded that to be able to provide the kind of support that I need to provide, I need to have like that one offer, and it needs to be a high ticket offer. And we have other things to do with our time. I don't have to have students. It's just an opportunity for people to have us in their lives, and just to be in that place to where it can be sustainable for them and sustainable for us. But making the offer $2,500 makes it to where a 10K offer, the upgrade is like, $74.97 or something like that. And so I'm really happy with how it all came out. And I'm just excited. And I want to encourage also your listeners, when they are your audience, I have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. And they're all wins, okay? So it's not like if this plan fails, it's kind of like, okay, I have 3 doors. Okay, if this door opens, okay, so if this door opens, we'll serve people this way. If this door opens, we'll serve people this way. If this door opens, right? So by the first 2 doors staying shut, that means the other one's opening. And then I feel success always. I'm just always in a zone of success. So I just want to encourage, whether, you're starting out with a smaller offer or you're trying something new, I know that I'm going to serve my students no matter with the things that I'm telling you, and we can invite other people and they can pay for it, or I can just serve them once I've already paid. I can invite other people to join the new mentorship. Or guess what? We get to work on other projects, And so one of the other projects is I've been putting a hold on a book that I've been working on, a book series. And so I'm like, okay, if I don't serve people through the mentorship this time around, something happens to where it's all silent, I may launch again, but I really want to focus on writing the book and some manuals, because my dream is to train pioneering success coaches to do what we're doing. So I don't want to just keep it like that we are the founders and there's, if people are interested in learning how to do this for other people. My dream and how I started doing all of this was to, license the frameworks and teach others how to do it and create a whole new, basically, industry and help people have even an extra revenue stream. So to me, it's always a win-win. And so I invite everyone that's watching, make yourself a blueprint that's a winning game plan, and you always win.
I love that. I love the vision that you have. And I love that the freedom that you have found with what you're doing is something that's able to have a legacy impact through the courses and the mentorship, and then potentially through the books as well. I love that long-term plan. And knowing your ABC, right? And whether that's because this is not the right season, which we just talked about on a recent episode of the For Your Success podcast. But if this is not the right season for that thing, you also have something else you can focus your time on that will equally create impact and legacy. And I think that's so important that we understand that this is a journey. Building a business, building a lifestyle of impact, a lifestyle that will leave a legacy behind you for generations is a journey. And if you think about a journey, you have never taken we never talk about journey in terms of successes or failures. we always talk about journeys in terms of the experiences along the way and in terms of where we get to, right? You never hear somebody say, oh, that was a failed trip or that was a failed journey, right? It's never a failure because we're constantly learning and constantly making progress, and building your business and building your lifestyle of impact is the same way. And so thank you so much for being with us today. Any last tips or words you'd like to share with the audience as we close out?
I do have 2 quick things I wanted to share. My best friend, whose name is also Katie, she's my best friend from our season in Kentucky, our decades in Kentucky. She sent me these recently. I don't know if you can see them, but these are earrings made from crushed pennies. And I've decided I am going to wear these indefinitely because it reminds me of something I say all the time. So many people have done so much more with so much less. Take this penny. You can probably find 2 pennies doing nothing. You don't have to earn 2 pennies. You can go to a convenience store. You can just walk around, look around. Okay? Then, you have these earrings, these loops, very inexpensive, right? But you can create something of value with what's in your reach. And so recently I've really been thinking about that God gives us everything that we have. A lot of times we get derailed into thinking that we aren't enough, we don't have enough time, money, support, training, all of that. And no matter, that's an insatiable loop. But I wear these earrings to remind myself and to remind people that you can always take what you have and create value. I would not be surprised that someone could take something like this and sell it for $10, $15, $20 if they tell a story about it. You could stamp them. So basically, one thing I'm doing is I'm taking away that excuse that may be in the back or in the front that you don't have what you need. You have everything you need to create a course and a high-ticket offer because God has blessed you with experiences. God doesn't waste anything. We are using everything in the framework that it's taken a long time. But if you find yourself in that place that you feel, if I just had this, if you just had that. Yes, I've invested in mentors, and that's really important. But the mentors are not your saviors. They're going to draw out what's already inside of you. So what I'm trying to encourage you listening today is there's so much inside of you, and that pressure can draw it out, right? The pressure of spending that time to see what's there, the pressure of wanting to know, right? To just seek God, ask, seek, and knock. Something of value is within you, and it can change your life and the life of other people that you serve. And the other thing I wanted to share is just for those of us who are visual and process oriented, is that I shared with you basically in our story, in our testimony, kind of three things. I shared with you the conviction that led us to act. And that's what you need to have success. Not ideals, not ideas, not dreams. You need to have conviction. That is what will help you follow through. Then we have the courage to become fearless, right? So conviction, courage, then conception. Then we could, give birth to something new. What I tell people is that there are no shortcuts. And if these were the 3 steps to have, the way to get on a fast track is to work with a mentor that has gone before you and can help you. You can get on a fast track. It can go much, much faster, but you can't skip steps. So that's the second thing. It's like you have everything you need. Don't try to skip steps. Get some wise counsel so that you are really grounded, so that when you conceive something, like a mother needs to be in really good health before she conceives a child, so that the child doesn't have deficiencies and the mother doesn't have health issues and complications, then you really want to have, give birth to that new thing and launch that thing from a real place of being nourished. Mm-hmm. And the last thing, Katie, we talked about the a little something that I hold in my back pocket sometimes. I told Katie, against my husband's wishes and will, I have this thing that I use for our onboarding, for our application for our high ticket program. And if you're finding yourself in a place where you're stuck, or maybe you just don't feel like grounded, like I was telling you, don't feel like healthy enough to conceive, I know where you are. I mean, I was investing in a lot of launch programs, and I was having a really hard time launching, and a really hard time with the conception process and with the birthing process. And I had a lot of guilt and shame that came from that, because I felt like a failure, because I saw that other people had these awesome stories and I couldn't even like get off. So if you're finding yourself like you are like an eagle in a chicken coop, and you feel like there's something much greater inside of you, and you want to launch and you want to do something, but you find yourself stuck, something that God blessed me with, and I want to leave you with this, because it really freed me. It was such a freeing moment for me that allowed me to get to where I am today as far as serving other people through our high ticket offers. And it was this: if you are that eagle in a chicken coop, first you have to, abandon, you have to leave the coop, right? But you have to decide which tree you want to be on, right? So you have to get on a branch, right? So I was studying eagles when the Lord gave me this revelation last year. And what I realized is we want to pursue freedom because we want to find ourselves soaring free, right? But if you've been an eagle in a chicken coop, you don't even know how to fly. So to find ourselves soaring free, we have to learn how to fly. To learn how to fly, you have to learn how to flap. You have to learn how to fall off the tree, because how can you learn? And before you fall, you have to be on the tree flapping. The eagles, they find a branch and they flap, and they have to trust the process. So I was in the launch community for a long time flapping, and I was just flapping, but I wouldn't fall because I didn't trust the process. And I found out I didn't really trust the process because I felt like it worked for others, but it didn't work for me. There was something about my conviction that didn't line up with some of the ways that we were being taught. And if you're watching this, especially on Katie's podcast, you're probably feeling like, sometimes the ways of the world, they promise a lot, but if there's a resistance in you, you're not going to want to fall because you don't trust the process. And you're like, if I fall on my face, who's going to catch me when I fall? Like, I'm going to just be on my face. I may break bones. Who's going to pick me up? So I just want to encourage you that when you're looking for a mentor, look for trust to be a very strong characteristic and connection between you. And, obviously I'm a mentor, Katie's a mentor, but that would be the one thing I want to leave you with what I just shared. I was stuck for like 4 years flapping. I didn't trust and I wouldn't fall, but you have to fall so that you can learn how to fly, because you trust your wings, right, are going to take you where you need to go. And so I have this assessment called Unlocking Your Pioneering Potential. And as Katie mentioned, I used to do executive coaching, consulting. If what I've shared sounds like something that would be helpful to you, then you can go to pioneeringpotential.com and you can get access to that for free. And that is all. I know it was a long goodbye, but that's what I felt like was in my heart, to help people be free from the guilt and the shame that comes from trying and failing at launching courses.
Thank you so much for your wisdom and the time that you've shared with us. For those of you listening or watching this, we hope that you will scroll down and leave us a comment. Let us know what you learned from the interview. Tons and tons of tips. And I love the visual there of the eagle learning to fly. There's so much that God wants to give you, so much ahead of you, and you have to trust his process. You have to have the conviction. You need to find the community. You need to align yourself with a mentor that you can trust, who's walked the road ahead of you, and step out in faith to do that thing that God is calling you to do. Because as we say over and over and over again on the show, your message matters. Somebody needs to hear what you have to say. And Aurora has showed us today what that can look like for you, and showed us how she does that with her pioneering clients. So thank you again for being on the show. If you want to grab that free assessment, folks, head on over to pioneeringpotential.com and you can grab that. Their YouTube channel is Producing Freedom. Check that out. Subscribe over there. And of course, we'll have all of those links in the show notes for you. So thank you for being on the show, Aurora. God bless you. And for all of our friends watching and listening, we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks again, Katie.